How's everybody doing? We're going to start today by going over some key terms for our lesson. Our first term that we're going to be taking a look at is constitution. Constitution is a written document that provides the rules for how a government works. It might tell you what the branches of the government are, so what parts of the government there are, what powers do they have, and how they work. It also might say what rights people have. So, for example, it's really important to know that there are constitutions at different levels of government. So, we, in a couple of weeks, are going to be studying the United States Constitution and how that came to be. So, there's a constitution for our country's national government. And we can see over here, there's a map of Massachusetts. There's also a state constitution, which says what our state government can do as well. So, perfect example, if you were wondering what job does the President of the United States have and what are the requirements to be President of the United States, well, you would look in the Constitution for that. If you were also wondering, hey, what job does our nation's Congress, that's our nation's lawmakers, have? Well, it would explain what sorts of laws they can make and what sorts of laws are they not allowed to make. So that's what a constitution does. It's basically like the rule book for how a government is supposed to work. Next up, we have rule of law. This is the idea that all people must follow the laws and that the laws are enforced fairly. So this is really important because we should know that it doesn't matter who we are. The idea in the United States is that with rule of law, it doesn't matter if you're the president of the United States or the wealthiest person in the world or anyone else, the wealthiest person in the United States. The idea is that all laws are supposed to be followed by all people in the country and that laws are enforced fairly. Next, we have the idea of self-government. That's when the people can make decisions on how government should work. So basically the idea of self, so like myself, I could have the idea, I could participate in making decisions for government. So that means that we, the people, have the ability to influence how our country's government works or how our government works at different levels, as we'll see later. Next up, due process. Due process, we oftentimes think when it comes to like the law, we think of due process. It's the idea that people have the right to fair and reasonable laws, that the laws are fair for people. In addition to that, due process is really important when we have the idea that officials have to follow rules when enforcing the laws to treat all people the same way. So again, the whole idea that it doesn't matter if you are the richest person in the United States or you're not the richest person in the United States, the law must be treated the same way for those people. Next up, we have the idea of limited government. Limited government, that's the idea that where we see a limited government that has been restricted in power by a constitution or written agreement. So the idea that the government is not end all be all. The government is not does not have absolute power over everything. Why? Because there's a constitution that says what the government can and cannot do. Next up, we have rights. We're going to be studying about the idea of rights quite a bit. Rights are a set of things that people believe they should be free to do without restrictions. So we'll be talking about these ideas, what particular rights many Americans hold dearly, such as the right to life, speech, education, religion, independent thought, and the right to have information. Many ideas of, those are human rights that you oftentimes hear people say that they have the right to, practice religion, the right to speak freely, the right to an education, that they should have those rights and they should not be limited by anybody to tell them they can't do it. And next up, we have consent of the governed. This is going to be a very important concept. Consent means permission. To govern means to rule over. Consent of the governed, you combine those two words together. That's when people give the government the ability to make decisions for them. When this happens, it makes the government legitimate or real. Think about it. We have government, we have leaders who make decisions for us. We, the people, are the ones who are electing those leaders. We are giving them the power to make those decisions, and hopefully, those leaders will be doing the right thing and making good decisions for us. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Have a good day.